Hello, hello, hello. This is episode 2 of Best and Worst Foxhole Ideas. This is where I've gone through the feedback channel in the Discord, the official Foxhole Discord, and looked over all of the ideas for November and just kind of picked out the best ideas that I saw and some of the worst ideas that I saw. So we're going to go over those and talk about them. We have two good ideas on right back to back here. The first one, I've thought about this one a lot. I think I say that a lot, so I'm not trying to pat myself on the back or anything, but a lot of these, maybe that's why I pick some of these ideas. I'm like, oh yeah, I thought about that once before too. It's obviously a really good idea because I've thought about it. But something chop shop related, where you can take in some vehicle. You know, we always, towards the middle of wars and definitely the end, we just get way too many vehicles, right? Just too many laundry trucks, too many load trucks, too many resource containers, some way to salvage them to get something back, some materials. I don't even want B mats back. I think if it just does the raw material of salvage, I think that would be great, and make it 75%. You'd essentially be giving Logis a new job to do, which would be cool too. Like, I would love to do something like that, like go see a storage depot that has a ton of trucks. I'm like, oh, that's way too many, you know, bring them back, salvage them. Obviously it'd still have to be worth our time in terms of B mats and things, but I think some form of salvaging would be really cool. And the second idea on here is something I've thought about as well when I'm running freighters. You know, freighters, if you've ever been in a freighter, you know, the captain's, the window thing, whatever, sits, it looks like it sits higher, right? So why shouldn't I be able to see farther away in a freighter? Like, I really want to be able to, like, essentially put on binoculars when I'm in a freighter and at least, like, look around. You know, if I'm going that slow and delivering supplies, like, at least give me something to look at. So if they could just make it so you could look longer distances in a freighter, I think that would be really cool. And my idea from the freighter wasn't really close to this person's idea. I mean, they're talking about getting lost and they want a compass. I mean, they're kind of, if you could just see further, I think that would help with their idea too. If I could, you know, so you're not going the wrong direction. I am constantly, you know, checking on the map where I am with freighters and stuff, but a compass would be cool too. That would be pretty awesome. Listen, as a Logi player, you don't know how many times I would love to get rid of a tree or a stone wall or any object that's just been misplaced on a road or poorly placed in a city. I get it. I wish we could just flag them somehow and let the devs know. Or the devs just had like a Discord channel that's like, hey, whenever you run into one of these things, take a picture of it, send it to us, and then we'll update it next war and get rid of it. I would much rather have that than this person's idea of giving us some construction machine or something that lets us demolish pieces of the world. Because you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to happen is there's going to be one dedicated person, probably multiple of these people, but you know, one dedicated person that's going to go around the whole world and just destroy everything. They're going to destroy all the stone walls. They're going to destroy all the trees. It's all going to be gone. So I would rather just have a way to report it and then have them update it next war. I don't know why this isn't a thing already. Maybe devs like just laugh in our face when we run into these things. But yeah, nothing that demolishes trees or anything. This has been brought up so much. It would just be abused. I've seen this idea come up in several places. I've seen a lot of people mention something like this. I mean, I even saw a guy in a car last war, you know, taking his hammer and just going from track to track to see if any of it needed repairs. But yes, adding some sort of visual damage states for tracks would be an amazing idea. And I'm sure the devs will get on something like that. I mean, a lot of items in the game already have damage states where you can see if they're damaged. So trains are brand new, you know, they rolled them out with 1.0. I'm sure we're going to see, hopefully, a lot of quality of life things improve once we kind of know better how trains work and everything. But yeah, this is a great idea. Hopefully this one can be implemented a lot sooner. Just, you know, making the rails look dented, or, you know, even just add that like dirty effect, like mud on it or something, just to show that it does need repaired. Like, I don't know, I haven't worked with trains very much, but what, below 90%, below 85, just something along those lines. But yeah, overall, this is a really great idea. I really like the mock-up for this idea. This person spent quite a bit of time doing this, so it looks really cool. It got a lot of upvotes, but Molotov cocktails, I feel like we have too many issues with fire right now, so I feel like this is a bad idea to implement Molotovs right now, especially at the cost of 60 B mats and 5 E mats, getting a crate of 10. If this was a Tekken early war, it'd be completely overpowered. Maybe if it's something that comes out later in the war, it's okay, but we need to finish our kind of water bucketing system before we add more elements of fire. We just need easier ways to put out fire. We need to be able to construct wells. We need like hoses or fire trucks, something. And then we can start to add these Molotov cocktails, but kind of a bad idea, I think. I think we desperately need something like this where resistance phase lasts a little bit longer, something. I don't know how the devs would balance this, because I know the devs, they want to keep pumping out wars so they keep their player base around. But, this is just one of those games where you burn out of it because of the people that do play it, like really put a lot of time and effort into wars. And that's why you'll see some really good wars. And what I consider a good war is anything that's probably 25 days or longer is usually a pretty good war. But you see wars that are like 20 days or less after those wars, and those might go on for 1 or 2 wars that they're called break wars. And the side that's just stomping the other side is not having a good time because they're not being challenged enough, and then the side that's getting stomped is not having fun because they're not winning, and it's just bad for everybody. So having some way to have longer breaks, like making essentially the next war that's coming out like a special event, making it feel like, oh yeah, okay, I'm so excited for the next war that's coming out in 2 weeks or something. 2 weeks would be a long time, but there needs to be some longer period, and I think there needs to be something a little bit more special that happens in between. Either in the resistance phase, there just needs to be a special event there. I know they've done like zombie stuff, or just something different would be a really good idea. Or another thought that I had is, if you're gonna have, maybe they just flat out call it a break war. The next war, they just said this is gonna be a break war. They lower the hexes down because they know maybe less people are gonna play, and they just straight up call it a break war. And then the next one's like, okay, now war 99, now war 100, and then in between that is actual. They just call it a break war. I don't know. That's kind of my own idea about it, but I think having longer resistance phases would help. I think having longer resistance phases would help with burnout. This person would like to remove tech and have tech just gradually unlock after X amount of days or hours for both factions, what have you. So some initial issues with this idea would be that, I mean, we already have this issue too, but players would only log on when certain tech is unlocked. So, I mean, if you knew the exact hour and day, then players could literally just be like, okay, I just have to wait till day 4, day 5 of the war. And then I'll log on and play the thing that I want to play or whatever. Again, we already have that kind of issue, but at least players sometimes don't know the exact day or anything that it's going to happen. So, or maybe those players help get tech so that the things that they want to do unlocks quicker. The other thing that this person is like complaining about with the tech is that it's just too tedious and too try hard and things. This is another I always find it interesting for Foxhole. I know games are supposed to be fun and, enjoyable, but I don't know. For me, I like the work that you have to do in Foxhole, the team aspect and the teamwork. I like that there's tech maids out there that are going and, specifically collecting all the tech and unlocking things. I just like that there's a role like that. If you took that away, I feel like when you start taking things like that away from a game like this, you just start to make it too casual and too basic. And I don't think the devs want to do that. But I know that's, some initial complaints usually from new players or players just that want this game to be easier, And I understand that. I understand where they're coming from. But, with this game, you got to know it's work to make the team work, to win the war and things. It's not always fun. But yeah, we can't get rid of tech. I really definitely think this should have been a thing that the devs came out with at 1.0, and I mean, hopefully maybe they still consider this idea of just already having some sort of railroad system implemented from town to town, and then that players can build off of those rail systems to their respective their facilities and things. You just want a simple railway from town to town. It doesn't need to go to Scroop Fields or anything like that. Like, players can make that stuff, but a railroad that goes from major hub to major hub. Maybe it doesn't even need to stop by like small towns. Maybe at least as long as it connects storage depots and seaports. And like this person mentioned, obviously it's not going to require G subs. Maybe it's something you tech through industry, something along those lines to make it work. But yeah, something that's already kind of established would be really great instead of, I mean, the players have already started making good railroads and everything, but I think it would have gone over a lot better if there was already one established network between hubs. So yeah, I really like this idea, and it'd be cool to see if they could find a way to do it. We need the fire truck. We need the fire truck. We need something to combat fire more. But yeah, fire truck would be super cool. It's going to be the new train memes where people were always screaming, we need trains, we need trains. Fire truck is the next one. Once fire trucks are implemented, my guess is it's going to be the next vehicle is going to be some boat that people are going to keep shouting forever until a certain boat comes out. That's my next guess. But yes, fire trucks, please. Overcooked, but in Foxhole. So this person wants to be able to cook meals in a kitchen. That'd be cool if there was a kitchen building, in each major hub or something along those lines. But they want to give stats too, sort of like, you get cold slower. So kind of like wearing uniforms, increase sprint capacity, maybe give some other bonuses like being able to carry more. I think that would be really cool, and it would create like a whole new role as well. I'm just really unsure how you would implement it. Would the mats already be there and you just have to take time to cook the food, or are they going to add actual animals in the game that you would like go hunt, or farmland? Are we going to become some farm sim as well? There is always a breaking point. There's too many roles to do, but I don't know. Maybe if it was like farming, but then that wouldn't make sense with like snowlands, and is that important? Maybe the food's already there and you just have to take time to like create it. That might be the best thing. Yeah, so just how that portion would be implemented, but overall it's an interesting concept, and I think the main reason I like it a lot is just to create a new role too, like another job that somebody can like master and be good at. So we got a bonus one in here too, but I think I talked about this in my last episode, is buildable wells. Yeah, I just don't know why you can't. I'm sure actually I know why. It's probably because they haven't figured out how people would not abuse it, because that's always the case. If I can build a well, then I'm going to spam wells, across roads or wherever. Obviously making it maybe require G-subs or something like that. But yeah, buildable wells would be a good idea. That has been episode 2. I really love doing these episodes, even if it's not going to be like a popular video or anything. I just like reading through everyone's ideas. And I find that they have similar ideas to me, and they even explain them better most of the time. And I like seeing the bad ideas too, just seeing what people think should be in this game. So that was November's. I plan to do one for December as well. Just read through the ideas throughout the month. The Foxhole Discord actually just recently kind of switched over that channel to make it easier for me to find what I'm looking for, because I skip over like weapon balances, tank balances. Like I'm not going to talk about that stuff. I'm going to talk about kind of quality of life, or anything that refers to like logistics or building, more along those lines. So, but thanks for watching, and cheers.